Before this video starts, I'm gonna try to shove some positivity out there before I just absolutely go verbal postal. Harry Styles dropped a new song, and I really like it. I think it's pretty good. It's definitely, it needs that car listen before I, put the stamp on it and say it's song of the summer, but it's a really good song, and I'm excited for the new Harry Styles album. That is the only positivity I have for you. The rest of this video is going to be absolute nuclear rampage. And I think everyone at Nets Republic should just really just mail me the thank you card and give me the flowers. Because doing this video without a sliver of profanity is something that really, I should get Will Smith's Oscar. Like, I'm going to keep it that way. Like, you're going to take it from him. Give it to me for the performance I'm about to put on right now. But that's not here nor there. The Brooklyn Nets just lost to the Milwaukee Bucks at home. Now, number one, these jerseys, I don't ever want to see them again. I really don't. It's giving orange 2013 Knicks jerseys. Like, I don't want to see these jerseys ever again. When was the last time we won a game with these jerseys? And I think it's nasty enough that they give these jerseys more shine than the Basquiat ones got last year. But I don't want to ever see them again. That's number one, because we never win. We never win when we wear them. But number two, let's just go up and down the timeline. Now, a more explicit version of everything I just said is on my Twitter, but that's not here nor there, @7thBond. But let's just run up and down the timeline of what happened in this game. Now, it is no secret, and I'm just going to come out and say it. If you don't see another video from me again, it's because I finally went too far. The Milwaukee Bucks have a track record and a history of going out of their way to injure the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I know Grayson Allen has got his own thing going on, so I'm going to let him do him, and I'm not even going to get involved in that shenanigans. But every time we play this team, one of our players almost has a career-ending injury. If it's not them trying to assassinate Kyrie every time we play, if it's not a Chris Middleton going after Bruce Brown, and just the fact that that happened and we still lost is disgusting to me. But if it's not him trying to take Bruce Brown's literal arm off, if it's not Wesley Matthews trying to sweep kick Kevin Durant on a jumper, and then Budenholzer having the audacity to challenge the call. What? Like, it's nasty. It's giving 08 Celtics Doc Rivers nasty. If y'all just want to go around just slaughtering individuals, you need to play rugby or something like that, because this is just basketball. And oh, Sarah, I thought you liked the bully ball. There's a difference between bully ball and people going out there and just assaulting people for no reason whatsoever. I counted 6 Goldberg jackhammers. I counted about 22 Brock Lesnar F5s. Like, I'm sick and tired of Milwaukee getting away with literally trying to annihilate our team. It happens every single time we play. We just have to hope and pray KD doesn't wake up in the morning feeling some type of way about his Achilles, because the way they took that man out, I'm telling you, it's every time we play. We don't need to flash back to the playoffs with Kyrie. We already know what happened. And if you want to keep it all the way up that way, I know no one but me likes Harden, but let's just throw it out there. Let's not forget what series Harden got hurt in. It was 3 seconds into the second round in game number 1 against the Milwaukee Bucks, being guarded by Drew Holiday. All of a sudden, the hamstring issues flare up. Is it just a mere coincidence that every time we play them, we lose a player? Is it coincidence? Dirtiest team in the league. I don't know how they get away with it. I don't know how it is that they are just seen as these like lovable poster children of the house. Like Marcus Morris does like any of the Morris twins does anything we saw tonight from Milwaukee, and they are banished from the league. So it's like the Bucks and Jokic can just go out there and just annihilate people and no one cares. Clearly, that is what the league is trying to tell us, because there is some type of nasty pro-Giannis agenda that just has to be pushed at all costs, even when he is blatantly trying to injure people. But y'all want to call that hustle. Bettity bet. Bettity bet, bettity bet, bettity bet. Marcus Smart is going for loose balls and he gets exiled into dirty player land. But Giannis can literally shove Kevin Durant and Seth Curry into the front row to keep himself from losing the ball and getting turnover number 9. But we don't say anything. That's number 1 off rip. I find it disgusting and it's irritating. To be quite frank with you, it's irritating. But then the fact that we lost in the exact same way as we did in Game 7 is what is sending me personally. Now, there wasn't a game-tying shot that could have been a game-winning shot if it wasn't for an alleged toenail. No, it was none of that. It was the fact that it came down to the final possession. Kevin Durant hits an impossible shot. Everyone's going crazy. He's done it. He's done it. He's done it. Followed by Giannis and them coming down the court, getting fouled, which, and we're going to get to how it is he got fouled because there are other layers of this, but that's not even there. Giannis hits both foul shots because he can shoot foul shots now. When did that happen? But that's not here or there. People got Giannis messed up as far as his skill level, but that's not here or there. But he can apparently hit foul shots now, so he hits them both. We go to overtime. And if I'm getting the timeline confused, I apologize. I'm just really flustered and trying not to curse. So we go into overtime. Kevin Durant is exhausted. Long story short, misses a last-second shot that really anyone else on the court could have taken. But we'll get into why it was him again. Misses the shot. It's over. There you go. Only now you can add in Kevin Durant was trying to fight someone on the other bench or in the crowd or the front row or something like that, which I'm sure we'll hear more about later. It's just, God, it's the same stuff over and over again. Now, I'll get back to the closing point of that particular instance, but we need to talk about why it was the game ended the way it ended. Now, outside of the officials just swallowing their whistle with anything that has to do with Milwaukee, which, I mean, how was Drew Holiday not thrown out? Well, excuse me, not Drew Holiday. How was Wesley Matthews not thrown out after what he did to Kevin Durant? I'm not quite sure, but that's not here or there. Steve Nash. And we have gone over this 3 videos in a row, and I have to continue to say this because some of y'all, even tonight, are defending Steve Nash, and it's just incredible. I wanted to make tonight's video the Seth Curry apology video, but we're here talking about Steve Nash yet again, and I can't with this man any longer. I'll be quite honest with you. I am not suggesting it. I am no longer asking. I am demanding. I want him fired. I want to see him on the streets. I want him fired and jobless and banished. Take him off the top 75 list. I don't even want to see him on 2K. I want that man banished and wiped from the history books of the NBA because this man is the worst coach I have ever seen in my life. And if any other coach does the things night to night this man does, they're fired 3 games in. I'm not going to tell you what the difference is between him and other coaches that get fired prematurely, but it's starting to show and it's disgusting. Steve Nash yet again decides to play James Johnson in important minutes where Kevin Durant is not out there, instead of going with Blake Griffin or a healthy LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, one of the beat writer dorks asked Steve Nash, hey, the fans are asking, how come you don't play him? And then this man, was it Christian Winfield, whoever, gave Steve Nash an excuse. He said, is it just because Blake is better at the 5 or what's going on? Don't give him an excuse. So Steve Nash just takes what he says and says, oh yeah, he's much better at the 5. So it's not this idea that Steve Nash is so delusional that he thinks that Blake Griffin is better off as a 5 when he's literally been a power forward his entire life. It's the fact that he was given an excuse because he had no logical excuse and just went with that. He pulled the old Fairly Odd Parents gag and said, oh, sure, we'll just go with that. So thanks, Christian Winfield, or whoever it was, you dork. Appreciate you giving him an out. shooting that man bail for no reason. I wanted real answers, but that's not here there. So Blake Griffin is a no-show. Doesn't even sniff the court. LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't even sniff the court. Kessler Edwards gets his per usual 30 seconds of playing time. Oh, we could have used him in crunch time, but I guess not. No sighting of Cam Thomas. I don't think Duke Jr. is able to be with the team, but I'm sure Day'Ron Sharpe was. No vision of him whatsoever. But who did get the crunch time minutes? Obviously, Patty Mills is going to get some run here and there. Why, I don't know at this point. But guess who got the crunch time minutes? In the end of, and I'll give Steve credit, he waited until the very last possible second. At the end of the fourth quarter, when it was a 3-point game and we just needed some other offense outside of Kevin Durant, which again, we'll get to that in a quick second. This man put Claxton in and put Goran Dragic in. I'll say that one more time. This man, Steve Nash, at the end of overtime, puts in Goran Dragic and Nicholas Claxton. Now raise your hand if you think Claxton can guard Giannis. You tell me how many points total Dragic scored tonight. But you got to put your best friend in. You got to put your best friend in. Why not? You trust him, right? You got to put your best friend in. Now, the alternative, because I'm here with facts tonight. I'm here with facts because I know what you're saying. Oh, Sarah, who could he put in? Oh, I don't know. Bruce Brown, who was like 10 of 13 from 3. Maybe he could have been in there. Oh, I don't know. Maybe Andre Drummond, who is unguardable down low in the post, who could have given us another option and maybe gotten Giannis and Bobby Portis in foul trouble, or maybe Brook Lopez or something like that in foul trouble. But no, we went with Claxton and Dragic. Because Claxton is everyone's pet project who you can't say anything negative about, and Dragic is Steve Nash's best friend. Instead of going with the literal winning formula, and there were 5 minutes in overtime, you cannot tell me that they were exhausted and were not able to play. That is a conscious decision by Steve Nash. That is a conscious decision by Steve Nash. You know what else is a conscious decision by Steve Nash? The fact that this man drew ISO Kevin Durant for 10 minutes straight. You got Kyrie Irving out there. You got Seth Curry out there. You've got options on options on options on options. Why is it that every time there is a big moment or a play, it is just ISO Kevin Durant and the bum missed twice? He missed at the end of regulation and he missed at the end of overtime like he does every single time. And it's a combination of two things. One, he is not the reincarnation of Avatar Aang. He's not Jesus. He's not Buddha. He's not whoever. That man is human. And if you play him the entire game, night after night after night after night, and just draw plays that are the exact same thing over and over again, ISO KD, ISO KD, ISO KD, ISO KD. And after a night where this man is getting blocks, I mean, we don't even have a chance to talk about the Bruce Brown blocks, but that's not here there. Kevin Durant's out there getting blocks, assists, rebounds, doing literally everything for the team, and then you have the nerve to rely on him like this and say, okay, now go save us. The man is understandably exhausted, and he is a human being. That is not Bron. That is not Jordan. That is not Kobe. That is Kevin Durant. That is a 7-foot Jamal Crawford. That is a 7-foot prime Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony. I know you don't like to hear that, but he is human. I don't know who y'all think Kevin Durant is, but he is human. And Steve Nash is asking way too much from him when you have so many other options. Was Seth Curry not going off the whole night? What about, as Steve Nash likes to say in the huddle, what about KD drives in, touches the paint, kicks it out to an open shooter who were all on fire? And did we just forget Kyrie Irving was out there for some reason? Like, I just don't understand how we can do this over and over and over. It was game 7 all over again, and I knew he was going to miss them both because the man is exhausted, and this is always what happens. We just rely on ISO KD and expect the best, and this is all active decisions by Steve Nash. Then you got Reggie Miller having the gall to say when it was all said and done, oh, great play by Steve Nash. how was that a great play? He had 2 people on him at the end of overtime. I just don't understand how Steve Nash is getting away with this. I really don't. And that's why I keep saying it's not enough. Y'all swear I just hate Kevin Durant and hate Kyrie Irving. It's not entirely that, and I mean entirely for the Kyrie Irving part, because y'all know how I feel about Kyrie, but it's not that I hate these 2 players, and that's why I think they're not good enough. It's because it's impossible for 2 people to carry a team that far in the playoffs. We've seen it not work before. You want to know what the difference is between last year's playoffs and this year's playoffs, and what nobody wants to acknowledge as to why we got as far as we did? Because in the first 2 games, we punched them dudes in the mouth. I ain't gonna lie. They weren't ready. We had a lot of chemistry on our side. We had Jeff Green going off. Like, there was a lot of other factors going on. People forget about the majestic run of Mike James and stuff like that. Like, we had a lot of things going in our favor. Landry Shamet was starting to hit his shots again. Joe Harris didn't go cold until the end of the series. Like, there was a lot of other factors at hand, and we were just punching Giannis and them in the mouth the first couple games. Then Giannis purposefully starts injuring individuals, and then everything goes left. But one of the main components is, even though Steve Nash was still the coach, we had James Harden. And I understand y'all don't like him, and I get it. He quit on this team. Screw him. I got you. But that was our head coach. He was the coach on the floor. He was the one making the decisions. So it didn't matter that all we knew was ISO KD. At least James Harden's going to run the pick and roll as well. With no Ben Simmons out there, and you're basically leaving it up to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to make the decisions on their own, or just listen to Steve Nash, who is going to say ISO the best player on the court, they are aimless. We're going to keep doing the same thing. Like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If we have watched ISO Kevin Durant not be successful this entire season, like, sometimes he'll hit the shot, but it's like, what's the over-under on that? And again, it's not a commentary on I don't think Kevin Durant's good enough. It's this is a terrible strategy. And while there's a lot of extracurricular things that we can blame on multiple individuals, give it your Kyrie Irving with this vaccination foolishness, be it James Harden with pouting about it and quitting on the team and abandoning it. I mean, there are a lot of different off-the-court things where the fingers start going like this. I mean, a million different things. Not getting anything back for Spencer Dinwiddie or DeAndre Jordan, the front office. I mean, there are so many things. Having the audacity to get rid of DeAndre Bembry, like, I swear we could be using him right now, but that's not even there. There are so many off-the-court type things where the blame is going like this. But if we're talking strictly basketball, Steve Nash is to blame for the entire failure of this season. And I get the team is different every night. I get he's having a lot to bet. But it's like, we're talking simple decisions. You have a healthy LaMarcus Aldridge on the bench. You've been waiting for him to come back, and you keep going with James Johnson. If you don't want to go with LaMarcus Aldridge, there becomes a question of what do we bring him back for? That's number one. Then you can go with Blake Griffin. If you don't want to go with Blake Griffin, again, it begs the question, what did we bring him back for? You can go with Kessler Edwards, who clearly plays well. That's why he gets the little bit of minutes he gets. So why don't just give those minutes to give those minutes to Kessler Edwards? Because it'll be the times that James Johnson is out there literally shooting us out the game, where Kevin Durant has to come back in and we're down 6 and he's got to go into hero mode. Because of the incompetence of Steve Nash. That's why I keep saying it's not enough. If we still had all 3 of them, I'd say pure talent alone, it doesn't matter how bad of a coach Steve Nash is. If Ben Simmons were coming back and we knew for a fact he was coming back and he was able to like be integrated, you know the word I'm trying to think of. integrated into the offense. I'd say it doesn't matter how bad of a coach Steve Nash is. But if it's just Kyrie and Kevin Durant against the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks, I expect nothing less than an L. And something nobody really wants to really internalize is these are the teams we're playing in the first round. Now, in the play-in, yes, I believe the combination of Kyrie and Kevin Durant will be enough to get past the Hawks. Maybe. I believe that. I'm not scared of the Hornets. I'm not scared of the Raptors. Like, okay, like I get it. We'll be fine. And oh, the irony if we end up playing the Cavs, but that's not here nor there. What I am saying is when we get past the play-in tournament, assuming we do, we are going to have to face one of these top teams. And at some point, we're going to see Milwaukee again. If this is the game plan going in and it's not working now, what do you think the difference is going to be when we get there? You can tip your hat to they're completely healthy and they barely beat us. But what matters is the result of the game. It's an L. We can keep clinging to it was Kevin Durant's big toe. It was still an L. I don't care how much he scored tonight. I don't care what Kyrie did. It doesn't matter how many blocks Bruce Brown has. It didn't matter how amazing Seth Curry was. It doesn't matter how dominant Drummond is down low. The improvement from Claxton in the pick and roll. None of that matters because all people are going to remember is the L. And we are out of time. It's too late to fire Steve Nash. We're stuck with this. Kyrie's full-time. I let go of the trade him thing. I'll let it go for now. Stuck with him. Might as well keep him. And he plays well. Shout out to him. He's legally able to play. I'll let that narrative die for the rest of the season. But this is the team we're stuck with. Y'all willingly traded James Harden for someone who can't play. That was a decision y'all made. This is who we're stuck with. This is the situation we have. And we got to ride this out. But what I will not tolerate is y'all sitting there trying to make excuses for Steve Nash when on a nightly basis, he is the reason why we lose games. Because I'll tell you, on the flip side, if we won, it wasn't because of Steve Nash. It was just because Kevin Durant was able to dig deeper than any other human being on earth could possibly dig and be better than what he was, which I don't think is possible. It's not possible for Kevin Durant to have played better. So don't put it on him. Kyrie's being very unselfish. Don't put it on him. It's Steve Nash, the worst coach in NBA history. We just have to pray that either Kevin Durant has some type of tank that we just ain't see him tap into, and we're able to see an entire playoff run of 60-point games from Kyrie Irving and Kevin, or Ben Simmons comes back. Because outside of that, it's done. It's done. This is cooked. It's done. And if you're of the mentality of don't worry, Kevin Durant will save us, shame on you. Shame on you. Shouldn't be up to those two to play any better than they already are. But hey, that new Harry Styles fire though.